If y'all want to go to the library or you need to go now because Miss Jack's class just left. Or you can listen to the story if you don't need to go. Okay, here we go. Friday. Here's what we ended on Friday. Whose chapter is this? Oh, Lexi. It was Lexi visiting her account of visiting Mr. Terupt in the hospital. Okay. She said, he had to wake up. I had never felt so happy and sad at the same time before. Okay, so now we know that Luke has visited. She thought she maybe saw Peter leaving. The three girls, Danielle, Anna, and Jessica, they've all visited. Okay, and then, of course, Lexi. All right, here we go. Anna. Charlie is Danielle's 27-year-old single brother. He's the one who dropped Danielle off at my house, and he's the one who arrived to pick her up after the hospital trip. He didn't get out of his red truck and come to our door because he didn't need to. Danielle was ready. Next time, I'll keep her busy, so he has to ring our doorbell. Thanks for taking me tonight, ma'am, Danielle said as we stood on the porch. You're welcome over any time, Danielle, Mom said. I'd love it if we could draw together. Danielle smiled at that idea. See you tomorrow, I said, and we hugged. Thanks, she whispered. We watched her walk out to the farm truck with the dented door. I held my breath with hope for the entire long minute. Then I was rewarded. Charlie turned his head and looked back. I saw his smile and friendly wave, a wave that Mom gladly returned. I walked to my bedroom and sat on my bed, suddenly exhausted. Mom sat next to me. Quite an afternoon, huh? She said. Yes, I said. Poor Alexia. No dad for her either. Everybody's got a story, Anna. Is that true? That's true. You never know. I laid down and rested my head on my pillow. Mom lay down next to me. Is Mr. Terupt going to be okay? I asked. I don't know, honey, Mom said. I sure hope so. She wrapped her arm around me and I started to cry. Is it my fault? I asked. Mom sat up. Is what your fault? Mr. Terupt, lying in that bed. Anna, how could it possibly be your fault? Mom sounded shocked. Because I'm one of the kids that got Peter mad enough to throw that snowball. Anna, you listen to me. She sounded almost mad now. Look at me. Her eyes narrowed in on mine. You didn't throw that snowball, nor did you force Peter to throw it. I'm not sure whose fault it is that this happened, or even if that matters, but I do know it is not yours. Do you understand me? I just want him to be okay. I know, honey. Me too. I never thought I'd have the courage to ask my mom the next thing that came out of my mouth, but my feelings just poured out after seeing Mr. Terupt like that. Do you ever blame me for what happened to you all those years ago? Blame you? Is it my fault that you were ostracized? Anna, honey, please tell me you're not being serious. I didn't say anything. My goodness. Mom placed her hands on my cheeks and spoke softly. Anna, I consider myself lucky to have you. I would endure all that pain again in an instant so that I could have you. I never blamed you, nor will I. You are everything to me. A tear fell from Mom's face and landed on mine. I've always been afraid that you'd end up hating me for bringing you into the situation, Mom said. You're the best mom ever, I said. I love you. I love you too. Mom bent forward and we hugged. Then she kissed me on the cheek and lay back down next to me. I wanted to ask her about Charlie, but I was wiped out, so I closed my eyes. Okay, if you feel like there's anything you want to write down for Anna, you can do that. I am going to keep reading. Maybe she's having some tough questions, wondering about blame for the Mr. Terupt situation, wondering about her mom. Okay. You should already be on your page, so it's easy to write. I'm going to start reading Danielle. I'm glad I went to see Mr. Terupt. It wasn't easy, but it would have been a lot harder alone. I don't know how Lexi did it, but I'm glad she was there, because now we're friends again. I don't think she'll be mean anymore. I think Mr. Terupt helped her, right from his coma. He helped the four of us make the wrongs right. I didn't know about Jessica's father. She seemed so perfect. I thought her family was too. See, there's another example right there of real life. Sometimes things just look and seem perfect, and they're not. Yeah. This is Danielle. Danielle saying I thought her family was perfect. I used to think Lexi was so lucky as well, but maybe I'm the lucky one, even with this extra meat on my bones. Maybe we're all lucky for having Mr. Terupt. I've been trying to figure out why the accident happened. Every night I pray and ask for help making sense of this tragedy. Mr. Terupt helped Lexi and us, and he helped me make it over to Anna's house. I want to go again. Her mom's very nice, and when he picked me up, I noticed that Charlie seemed to like looking at her. I decided not to say anything, though. Not to Charlie, or about wanting to go over to Anna's again. Not yet. At home, Mom and Grandma asked me how my visit went as soon as I walked into the kitchen. Did that woman do or say anything crazy? Grandma wanted to know. Was she okay? Mom asked gently. She seemed fine, Charlie said. He came to my rescue, and then walked out of the room. She was friendly, and I liked her, I said. Can we just pray together for Mr. Terupt? It's late, and I'm tired. Sure, sweetie, Mom said. I could tell that Grandma didn't like this one bit, but she went along with it. In school the very next day, Jeffrey asked a lot of questions about our visit. He had asked Luke questions too. How many tubes did they have hooked up to him? What was the name of the stuff they were putting into him? Were they giving him blood? What was his heart rate? Jeffrey, stop, I said. We don't know the answers, and your questions are upsetting me. Sorry, he said. You should just go yourself. I saw him exchange a look with Jessica. I got the feeling there was something I didn't know. Sorry, he said again. Then he walked away. Dear God, it's Danielle. Things down here are getting harder. I'm doing my best, but it's not that easy. Thanks for returning Alexia, a brand new Lexi. I'm very grateful for that. But I'm about to ask for more. It's Mr. Terupt. He really needs you. He looked terrible when I saw him. There are so many of us down here that want him back so badly. He's the best teacher any of us have ever had, and I just know he's got lots of good left to do here. Comfort him if he hurts, and please heal him. There's Jeffrey, too. I saw the look he gave Jessica. Something is up with him. Please help him. And I'd like to pray for Jessica and Lexi and Anna, all three of them without dads. That's just another reason why we need Mr. Terupt back. And last of all, I want to pray for me. I'd like to go over to Anna's house again. Maybe you can help me with that? I've also been thinking a lot about who's to blame for Mr. Terupt's accident. I thought it was Peter because he threw the snowball, but after seeing Mr. Terupt, I'm wondering if it was me. I'm the one who suggested going outside, and I helped push Peter down. So I don't think I'm completely innocent. Please forgive me. Amen.
What happened?
Luke. I didn't think it would be as difficult going to see Mr. Terupt the second time. Caleb, I want you looking at the screen the whole time, okay? I knew what to expect. I was wrong. Okay, so now Luke has gone a second time. He said, I didn't think it was going to be as difficult, but it was. Seeing Mr. Terupt in that bed again wasn't any easier. I thought he would look better. I thought he was improving, but he looked the same. Still just lying there in his bed, surrounded by the same beeps and tubes and monitors, and noises from the hall. It was all just the same. I felt the lump in my throat growing. Mom's hand touched my shoulder. She saw it happening too. I stood at the side of my teacher's bed in a state of disbelief, feeling helpless. Then the doctor walked in. At least I figured he was the doctor. He had salt and pepper hair, a white coat, and a smart face. He nodded to us and then moved toward Mr. Terupt. He checked some numbers and fluids, pulled back Mr. Terupt's eyelids to look at his pupils with his pen light, and then started to leave. Wait, I said. Wait. He stopped and turned around. Are you Mr. Terupt's doctor? I asked. Yes, I'm Dr. Wilkins, one of the physicians. Is Mr. Terupt going to get better? I saw him take a big breath. He looked at my mother first, then me. I don't know, son. What's wrong with him? He's in a coma, but what's wrong with him? Dr. Wilkins pulled some chairs over for all of us to sit in. He sat across from me. Mr. Terupt did a lot of wrestling while growing up, and even into college, he started to explain. It turns out he had to give it up because he suffered multiple concussions along the way. These concussions have weakened his brain in certain regions. The snowball that was thrown hit one of these weaker areas, the temporal region to be exact, and it cracked his skull. Dr. Wilkins looked very sorry as he said this. I don't know if he expected questions, but I had them. Does that mean Mr. Terupt wouldn't be in a coma if he hadn't suffered multiple concussions? I asked. I can't say for sure, but probably not. What do you do now? Just wait? Dr. Wilkins took another big breath. I got the sense that there was more to the equation, more bad news, or news that he was hoping not to share. He glanced at my mother, who nodded, giving him the okay to explain. I didn't want a sugar-coated report. I wanted the facts, and my mom knew that. Mr. Terupt has some bleeding going on behind this crack, and the blood is collecting, in his brain. We hoped it would stop, but it hasn't. He'll need to undergo brain surgery so that we can clamp the bleeding vessels. And then he'll be okay? If it works, hopefully yes. I heard the word if loud and clear. And if it doesn't, I said, brain surgery is risky. There's always a chance that the patient won't recover. You mean die, I said. Mom put her arm around me. What's your name, son? Luke. Yes, Luke. Your teacher could die during or as a result of the surgery, but I'm going to do my very best not to let that happen. I got up and stood by Mr. Terupt's bed. I looked at him. Dr. Wilkins got up and stood next to me. He's a pretty special teacher, isn't he? The doc said. I could only nod. Speaking would have made me cry like a baby. I'll do my best, Luke. That much I can promise. He squeezed my shoulder and left the room. Brain surgery, I thought. Mr. Terupt might never come back. I ran out into the hall. Dr. Wilkins, I yelled. He turned around. Does anyone else in my class know what you told me? Dr. Wilkins walked back toward me. We didn't know anything about his concussions at first, he said, but another teacher, Miss Newberry, was able to provide us with Mr. Terupt's background information. I guess Mr. Terupt had told her about his wrestling days, and it's a good thing because we have no other contact person for him. I stood there quiet. No other person? There was nobody for Mr. Terupt. But to answer your question, there is another student in your class who knows what I told you, Dr. Wilkins said. Who? I think he said his name was Peter. I was silent. Peter? I didn't think that Peter had been here. Dr. Wilkins turned to leave. Wait, I said. Does Peter know about the concussions or just the brain surgery is next? Just about the brain surgery. Why do you ask? Because Peter threw the snowball.